Taino Fun House, Lenny Lenape territory, Little Dominican Republic, New York City, and made plenty of notes for myself stating, please don't erase this live show. Man, we had a great show last night. I should say last Friday, and it was amazing because a lot of people have some great insights, and I was getting some awesome insights, and I messed it up. I erased the message. Today I had a little rough day with allergies. I know a lot of people have been getting allergies, itchy eyes and stuff. So it's been crazy. Patricia, Patty, how you doing? How's everything? Thanks for coming in. Um, I'm gonna try my best today to explain in my brain, in my heart. Peace, family. Hey, what's up, D? So today I'm going to explain a little bit about the Taino God, okay? Our ancestral God, our present day God. Now, I know I'm kind of bold saying this. Hey, you guys can hear me good, right? The mic is good? Forgot to do the sound check. If you can't hear me, please let me know. Yeah, so not that I'm brave, I think I'm kind of nuts trying to share what my understanding of Taino God is. And we know the translation. Oh, thank you, D. I know the translation of God. I mean, of Taino is the noble people, the good people. Some people would say like buena gente. Hey, anyone tuning in from the Caribbean? I know I get some people that hit me up from Puerto Rico, Bonican, Quisqueya, Cuba. Mucho gusto. Siempre no hablo español, pero yo prometo ahora mismo que yo voy a hacer show en español. I promise to do some Spanish shows in the future. Um, Being born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, um, Spanish was my first language, and I came from that era where you only speak English. So I was in bilingual class. I eventually lost a lot of most of my Spanish. I lost, so I got it back later on in life. Y aquí estamos, pero yo juro que en el futuro vamos a hacer los cursos y estos videos en español también. It's something that, I'm not crazy about the Spanish language because of the history, but it's something that helps me feed my family and to communicate with all you wonderful people in South America, Central America, all over. Language is not bad. Knowing many languages is great. So here we go. We got four people, the sacred four. We got this, man. So I want people to take out your pens and papers and iPads or whatever you use to write and take notes. And please, this is gonna be it's gonna be an intense one. I took a lot of notes since our last live, which was Friday. Today's gonna be part one, specifically focusing on the concepts of God and the ancestral. See, what I'm gonna try to do is go on a time machine, go back to 1491 and try to figure out. And how I'm gonna do that, figure out their worldview and their thought pattern and their spiritual expression. One, I'm gonna use the creation stories as one clue. And two, I'm gonna tie in my experience with the Jehovah ceremony and the mathematics, geometrical mathematics of that. And I've been doing this for years, trying to decode the creation stories. So I'm going to share this with everyone. And the best part about it is if it gives you some insights, please hit me up at tainofunhouse@gmail.com. All right. So I got my little board right here. I'm going to throw some names at you. If people know the creation stories, you're going to understand these names. If you don't know the creation stories really well, then it's kind of going to be a little confusing. But it should encourage you. In the link later on, I'm going to put, again, Cave of the Hagua, a great source. And if you want to learn about the caciques and how their understanding of power related to the Semi. This is the book for you, Caciques and Semi idols. If you can't get the book, let me know, and I will let you know how to get this text. So here we go. I've said this plenty of times. Ramon Pane was commissioned by Christopher Columbus to learn as much as he could about our ancestral mindset related to religion or spirituality. Religion, that's their words. And Bartolome, Ramon Pane did an awesome job. His main objective was what's that word? Um, Evangelization or converting our ancestors into the Christian religion. So when you read the text, you see a lot of that. You know, they add a lot of stuff, a lot of feelings, raw feelings towards our ancestors and their worldview. So let me throw you something at you. Bartolome de las Casas also commented that the Taino God was referred to Yokahu, Bagua, Manacotin. I said this many times, and I'm always going to repeat it so people can understand. Hold on a second. I'm going to get Yokahu. So Yokahu, Bagua, Manakoti is a representation. It's a triangular form of the creator. This is what they said. That Yokahu, Bagua, Manakoti is the creator. All right, makes sense, right? All right, that's your God, Yokahu, Bagua, Manakoti. But then our ancestors were like, oh, Norbela, from the Dominican Republic, ¿cómo está? So here's the thing. They were like, no, wait, hold on. Yokahu, Bagua, Manakoti had a mother. So that kind of like threw things off. So we have Ramon Pane and we have Bartolome de Casas talking about Yokahu, Bagua, Manakoti, who had a mother. So now we have somewhat of a hierarchy, right? Mother, son. Mother, son. Now I know this kind of upset the Spanish religious because their mindset was Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So what do we have? Mother, Son, blank. At the end of the show, at the end of this live, I'm going to fill in the blanks and you can agree with me or disagree, whatever. Let's see if we come to the same conclusion, okay? So that's where we start. Yokahu, we know later on, Yokahu is the spirit of the Yucca from the ocean or the waters who has no beginning, okay? So that's where we're introduced. And, you know, a lot of people like that, you know, Yokahu. I have a Yokahu. This used to be planted in the yucca fields, and it will help the yucca grow. According to the stories of the local farmers and also the writings, is that Yokahu would dig in the soil so the seeds can grow. Boom, perfect. We have a yucca for the people. Now, Yaya. Oh, before we go, please remind me in the comments, yucca. That's going to be one of my last statements. We're going to start with Yokahu and we'll end with Yokahu and the mom. So, Yaya, Yayael, wife / mother. So we have the story of Yaya. He has a son called Yayael, and Yayael was banished for 4 months for going against his father. Okay? Now, before the 4 months of banishment was over, Yayael comes back. Now, Yaya in the translations means spirit of spirits. And of course, Yayael, when we see El, the son of the spirit of spirits. So here we go. Ready for this? So Yaya kills his son. The wife or his mother, or the Yaya's mother, puts his bones in a gourd and they put it on top of the bohio where they lived, or the cane. And there it stood for thousands and thousands of years, time immortal, you know, the bones of Yayael. By the way, a little footnote, in the voodoo religion, Vodou, in Haiti, when they do their sacred ceremonies in the traditional way, they have it in the bohio, and on top of the bohio, they have a gourd filled with bones, human bones. What does that sound like? So, so the mother puts the puts the bones up, and then what happens is Yaya is saying, "Wait a minute, I miss our son. Please, I want to see our son." So that made her very happy. So she goes up, gets the gourd down, and when they look down, boom, there's water and fish. So according to the story, they eat the fish and they're happy. There's a lot going on here, and I'm gonna be really short. I'm not gonna go into basics. This is gonna be in the future, okay? But we have Yaya representing the ultimate order, right? Structure, tribal ways, you know, ethics, banishment. If you get punished, and then the ultimate punishment, I guess, for our ancestors was death. Now, there's stories that when you stole, the punishment was death. So I'm wondering if our ancestors are really referring to this thievery or thieves. Maybe they saw the Spanish as thieves, and that's sharing this story to them. Um, but it's kind of cool because at the end, his bones turn into fish, and it feeds them. So we start with death. Well, first we start with Yaya, who represents the ultimate, what do you call it? The ultimate law, right? Order, creation, right? Then you have Yaya doing the opposite, right? And then you have death. So you have life, rebellion, death, and then we end with Yaya being born again through fish, sustenance, eating. So we have a God who is order, but also we have disorder in the symbol of Yaya. So we got order, disorder, and with all that stuff going on, we have nutrition, we have fish, we have a transformation. So I can see our ancestors right now, they're looking at life and they're looking at life as one that has order, also it has chaos, rebellion. But at the end of the day, that dynamic of order, disorder becomes good. Or I should say not good, it becomes constructive. It helps the people. So life, death, life. Okay, I want you guys to underline that word. Okay, warrior for Christ, you said that Haiti practiced voodoo witchcraft. Well, I just want to add a little bit about that witchcraft thing. Basically, witchcraft in the indigenous way is kind of a slander, so we always got to be careful with that. Um, but here's the thing. We know through the Taino way, art, because of what the Spanish observed, like Bartolome de las Casas, and what I just shared with you now, our Taino ancestral rituals are still active right now. Still active in Haiti. So there you go. Okay, now we have another story. Itiwaka Hubaba gives birth to 4 sons. The first one was named Deminan Caracaracor, but unfortunately, the other 3 brothers were born after her death. So a lot of people theorize that's the first C-section, right? Because she dies, someone comes, takes out the other 3 brothers. They did not have a name, right? And then you have a situation where now your mother's dead. I want you to take a note of that. You have to eat. So the brothers are very, very hungry. So Deminan, being the oldest, what did he do? Bam! He smelled fish. So he said, "Hey, bros, come with me." So they went into a bohio or a cane, and they saw a gore hanging from the rafters there, and says, "Wait a minute, let's get up there. There's food." So then they make like the brothers or like transform into a ladder. Deminan's climbing on their backs, gets the gore, brings it down. There's all this fish. So they start to eat. Now, before you know it, they're listening to Yaya returning from his conucos or his farms. And now they got scared. Like, oh, Yaya's coming. We got to get out of here. So they climb up again. Deminon put the gore back, but with the haste, the gore falls, breaks, and this is the origins of the oceans. So now we have this character of Deminon. Seems like a cool guy. He's trying to help his brothers eat. They're hungry. Their mother just died. They got this fish, right? Is that stealing? Hey, write in the comment section if you think that's stealing. So Deminon is like he's a thief. He stole someone's food. Not only food, but he stole like a ritualistic fish. You know how you give offerings? Some cultures they give offerings, food offerings for the ancestors, like meat or something like that. I think we're looking at that. That's for another show. So he takes the gore down, they eat it. Whoa, he steals the fish. And then guess what happens? Yaya comes, the haste, boom, an explosion, the ocean shows up. Man, there's a lot of chaos there, right? So we have Yaya Ed, the wife. It seems like the mother in this whole thing, Yaya's wife, Yaya's mother, she seems to be the cool one, the one centering. Everyone is freaking out, emotional and so on. So, man, so what do we got now? So Deminon and his three brothers, they get out of there. They're running. They're in haste. We got to get out of here before we get our you know what kicked by Yaya. So all of a sudden, remember, I wonder if they knew that Yaya got killed. I don't know. Well, they were babies afterwards. But I wonder if the writers were thinking of all this. But check this out. So all of a sudden, um, Deminon and his brothers are confronted with somebody, and his name was Conel, 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 and Conel. He was quiet. He wouldn't say a word. He couldn't communicate with them. So they just left him alone. Oh, this guy can't talk. Let's just keep going. Then they bump into Bayamanako. Now Bayamanako was there. They referred to him as his grandfather. Ahiakabo Kwarakoel. We know our grandfather. So now we have a new character. We have Deminon and his brothers. Now we got the grandfather. Okay, Itiba Kahuwawa was the ancient mother. Now we got a grandfather. So is that their grandfather? I guess it is, the ultimate grandfather. So Deminon, he bumps into him, and he's cooking cassava bread, right? Now, according to legend, Bayamanako knew the secret of fire, so he was able to cook. And cooking, very crucial for societies, especially when you cook fish. So guess what happened? Deminon wanted some food, cassava. Remember, they were just born, so they're hungry. They got interrupted by Yaya. So instead of the grandpa, instead of abuelo saying, "Yeah, sure, I got some cassava I just made. Vente, siéntate, let's eat." He has some cojoba, the sacred medicine, in his nose still, and he just shot some spittle, and it hit Deminon in the back, and it burned the world out of him, and it grew an ulcer. Now his three brothers were a little concerned about him because he was in a lot of pain. So one of the brothers took an axe, the manaya, the sacred axe, and he started hitting the ulcer, and all of a sudden the ulcer breaks apart, and out comes a female turtle, sweetwater turtle, not from the ocean. So what happened was, Igutia, right? So what happened was, they took her in. They made a house for her, a bujio, and they all had relationships with her. And then she gave birth. She gave birth to the human race. So there ends the first cycle of the sacred beings, non-humans. I know a lot of ancient alien theorists love that story because it shows how the ancient beings from another world came. And that's going to be for another show. What do you think? So check it out. Now we enter a stage. But before I go, I want you guys to write this down. So we got Yaya, Yaya, Mother and wife. So that's three. When you guys write this down somewhere, because we're gonna do the math later on. We're gonna do some sacred math. So I want you to write down three, or put it on your phones or something. Three. Now we have Etiba Kahubaba, we have Deminon, three brothers, and Bayamanako. That's six. Six beings. So right now we have six beings. Now, in the progression of the story, now we're confronted with a power beyond humans, and that is the power of the sun. So put one. It's one being by itself, the sun. I'll get back to the sun in a little bit. There were two caves, Kasibahagua and Atacayuna, uh, Atayuna. And what happened in these caves, on one side, Kasibahagua, lived the humans, the Taino people. And then the other cave, Ayauna, lived whoever, the other tribe, other tribal people. So right now we have a little clue that the Taino tribe weren't the only tribe around. There were also other tribes that maybe did not speak the language or had different cultures. So there you go. Now, they had a person in charge of watching the cave. So no one came in, no one that didn't belong into Kisibahagua. And his name was Mako Kaed. Now it seems like that's a really hard job because Mako Kaed had to keep watch, make sure the right people came in, not the people from the other cave. Um, and then what happened? What happens? Whoa. I guess he showed up late one day before the sun came up. And guess what happened? The sun came and it turned him into a stone. Again, it's that whole punishment kind of concepts there. So he turns into stone. Now, there was some other people in the cave that I guess they were hungry and they needed to, well, not hungry, I'm sorry. They needed to some deagle. It was a plant they used for bathing. It makes sense. You wake up in the morning, want to take a bath in the river, go for some deagle plant, right? And then when they went out, the sun came. I'm sorry, not the deagle. They came to fish. They went to fish. It makes sense, you know? You gotta eat. And then the sun hit them, and they turned into hobo trees. Hobo trees. And then there was another person that went out to get some deagle. He's the one that got the deagle plant. And he turns into a bird. Okay? So we got Mako Kael that turns into a mineral, hobo trees. Got some men that turn into trees. And then you got the nightingale or the bird that sings in the morning. And then, boom, we introduced to a cultural hero named Guajayona. Now, Guayahona was probably instigating this behind the scenes. And we know this because he told one of the men to go out to become the nightingale. And he eventually, and it was Kahubaba. And he eventually, his name was changed into Kahubabael, son of the ancient one. So there's a lot of transformations here. Does this make you think of shapeshifting maybe? But a lot of transformation. So we got Kasibahagua, Antakayuna, so that's two. Now we have Mako Kaed, Hobo Trees, Nightingale, and we got Guajayona. Now we got four characters. Make sure you keep the math too, okay? Now, let's look at what Guajayona had a lot of relationships. Guajayona, of course, he had a relationship that I just mentioned with the men. So it seems like he was a powerful guy. A lot of influence in that cave. Hold on a second. So as the story progresses in the creation stories, we have Guajayona, who has a brother-in-law, and it seems like he was a cacique. His name was Anakakuya. And Anakaku... Hold on. I'm skipping the story. Sorry about that. Something happened when Guajayona left the cave. He got the deagle herbs. It seems like there was a sickness going around. So what he did was he took all the women and he sent them away. He took them to an island called Maitinino. Boom, we're out of here. And then when he was leaving with the women, he left the men and the babies behind. And according to the story, the babies cry so much, yearning for their mother's milk. Boom, they turn into tree frogs. Um, Again, you're hearing this, right? About this children being left behind or fending for themselves. There's that, I want you to hold on to that. So, and then the men were left defenseless. They didn't know what to do. They had no breasts to feed the babies. A lot of tragedies here, we can tell. A lot of chaos. So Wahayona started this chaos. And then he takes the women. He had his brother-in-law with him, Anakakuya, and then his wife, right? So we have a cacique, his wife, and that was his brother-in-law, Cuñao. And then they were in the canoe, ready to go to Maitinino with the women, and all of a sudden, Wahayona tells his brother-in-law, "Hey, look at that beautiful cobo in the bottom of the ocean." Now the cobo is the conch shell, the guamo. So he looks down, and then Wahayona, he shoves him, goes into the ocean, and drowns. I don't know about you, but he's referred to as a cultural hero, but it doesn't sound too good. This guy's definitely a trickster. Very similar to Deminon in a way. So what happened was, he's thrown off, dies, takes his wife, takes the women, Maitinino, and then with all this stuff going on, he gets sick. So it seems like he was quarantining the women from the men and the babies, but now he gets sick. So all this effort he's doing, the quarantine and so on, now he's sick. So what happens? He looks down in the ocean and he sees a beautiful woman. And you can interpret this many ways. A lot of people say, no, he didn't have sex with her. Well, in the words it said, it was she was very pleasurable to see, whatever. So I think they had a sexual relationship. But after they had a sexual relationship, her name was Guabonito, and Guabonito agreed to cure him of his disease. And she did. She took him to a far off place where nobody was around. And there's a special word we're introduced called guanara. She took him into a guanara, a place apart, and there she did the cures. And he was cured. And it's interesting because she asked him, "Listen, I want to leave. I need to leave." And he granted her permission, and she left back to the ocean. A lot of people think Juanito is a mermaid. It sounds like to me. I know in Haiti they have a lot of legends on mermaids. Again, indigenous cultural continuity when you pass down these stories. So we have Wahayona and we have the women. So that's, I should say, Wahayona and his brother-in-law. So we have two former chiefs. So that's two. Guabonito and Wahayona, we have two. So far we got 3, 6, 1, 2, 4, 2, 2. Okay? You can see there's a lot of dualism going on here with characters. Let me just look this real fast. So right now, Guahayona represents a lot of things. If anyone wants to write on the comment section, Guahayona is definitely a murderer, right? He's definitely one who's a leader because he takes all the women. Did he kidnap them? Is this a kidnapping we're thinking of? Kidnapping, murder. A lot of people theorize that he did a quarantine, but then he gets sick. But then he gets healed. Now this is funny. Before Guamonito left, she gave him some earplugs. She gave him some a collar or necklace with the guanin, which was the gold disc that the caciques used. It was made out of gold and copper. Copper was considered sacred metal. So it was a very unique alloy mixture. She gave him this. So my interpretation, we have a shift now between the old ways of Anakakuya, his brother-in-law, and now we got the new cacique, the new ways. And I'm thinking of he succeeded where Yaya Ed failed. So his rebellion was something, he went against the norm to make a change in the village from the caves, and now he's the chief, he's the head guy. So Wahayona, um, man, it's gonna be other. I'm gonna break all these characters down in future videos, okay? Um, so this is a brief thing. Yaya representing order, but yet he murders. He murders his son as punishment. His wife, Yaya's mother, she's very quiet. She performs the rituals. The ritual of giving birth, but then she dies. See, you see a lot of life, death, right? Deminon, the chaos he created, but also he received these cultural gifts like fire, casabe. Maya Manako, I'm gonna in the future videos, I'm gonna break him down. Then we have the sun, way, so he's powerful there. I also want to mention that Wahayona. Hold on a second. We got Deminon and his wife, Turtle Mother. That's also two. Now we have Conen. That's one. And then we have these relationships, which I already mentioned. Wabonito, Wahayona. So, theory number one, the Taino God. When they asked the Taino leaders, the Mexicanos, Caciques, who is your God? Yokahu Bagua Marakoti. But he had a mother. Her name was Atabe, Mamona, Suimaku. And when you read these stories, it's always in combinations, it's always in flux. There's disorders, there's defiance, there's ritual, there's death, there's theft, there's ceremony again. We got the stone people, we got the tree people, the animal people, and then we got us, the humans. So we're part of this sacred understanding of what God is. So my theory is these are all clues to the nature of God, the nature of the Taino God. And I have a theory also that God is a representation of the self in combination with other people in community or culture. So my concept of God came from my mom, my dad. If I had to go to church or whatever. In my case, my great grandma was a spiritualist, so she had a lot of rituals. So that's how I was introduced to God. I was also introduced to Jesus through television. The nativity, the death of Jesus, and the punishment, right? And the resurrection. So I was introduced to that as a child. So these are all concepts. So what I'm trying to say is that when we look back at these stories, we're looking at concepts, we're looking at thought patterns, worldviews of our ancestors. So they left us clues behind. They really did leave us clues. So, hold on a second. Let me look at the math now. 2, 2, 2. Okay, so let's go over the math real fast. So we got characters here. Yeah. 3, 6, 1, 2, 4, 2, 2. And then we have Wahayona. Yeah, 2. Then we got Gonen, 1. Turtle Mother, 1. Okay. Is everyone with me now? I don't want to confuse you. I don't want to bore you with the math. But there's a reason why I'm mentioning that. So we got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We got 22 so far. So far we got 22. So 2 plus 2 equals 4. So now we got the 4 directions right there. The sacred 4. And if you can see in these creation stories, the 4 You can see the structure there with Atabe, the dot in the middle. Then we got the four directions. What a lot of natives call the sacred hoop. You can see that throughout too. We got Makokae, the hobo trees, the nightingale. We have Wahayona. That's four. You see? So, and then there's the nature of God, which is Atabe. Right? And the opposite of Atabe is Yokahu. And then the opposite of Atabe in the feminine is Guavansesh, Semi. And then the opposite of Yokahu is Mautirarie Guayaba. So right now we have four. Yokahu on top, the sky. Atabe in the bottom as the earth giver. Then we have Wawansesh, which is the hurricane, the divine cleanser. She also represents death because of the blood cycle, the menstrual cycle. And then Matire Guayaba, opposite Yokahu, is the Lord of the Dead. So this is what I'm looking at. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. This is what I'm looking at right now. So we got the circle, which represents Yaya, the eternal time. There's no beginning, there's no end, right? Circle. And then in the middle of the circle is the void. Now, I interpret this void as Gonel. Gonel was observing what's going on with Deminon and all these people, right? Yaya and all that stuff. But he was silent. He didn't speak. He was just watching, right? It's like history. History just keeps going. Sometimes it repeats itself, and it's endless, 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 endless. For me, that represents Gonel, the void. And in Taoism, they say that the void is the place where God was born. And the Taoists. So Gonel, the void, the silent one, the mute one. Okay. Now, you see this in a lot of Taino petroglyphs. You got a circle surrounding the void. Okay. You got the circle surrounding the void. Now let's do the four directions there. With Gonel in the middle. And then you got Yokahu on top, which represents the sky right here, the sky. And then you have Atabe representing the earth. And then the air, earth. And then you have Guavansesh, opposite of Atabe. Guavansesh, the G. And she's the menstrual cycle. So we got Atabe, who's the life giver. She is pregnancy. They used to give women stones representing Atabe so they can become pregnant. It's in our tradition. And then you have, above Guavansesh, you have Mautire Guayaba, which is the Lord of the Dead. He lives in Guabe, which Christians call heaven. So you got four sacred energies going on, or powers I like to call it. Okay. So it seems like this Taino God is multi-level, multi-interconnected. There's a lot of dynamic stuff going on. Okay. Just looking at the creation stories, I'm looking what was shared. And don't forget, there was the 12 semis, right? And each semi represented a power, a structure. Hold on a second. So, in future videos, I want to break down all the semis. So, hold on a second. So what I like to do with the geometrical math, man, I think I messed up with the circle in the middle. So I like to do this. Above is Yokahu, below is Atabe. So that's that dualism, between masculine and feminine energy. So I put two triangles, one upright, one opposite, and then in the middle is the void, and that's the sacred energies is exposed. I'll make sure I'll post a better outline. So, so I believe this concept of what our ancestors thought. I think it solves the problem of evil, because we always hear about this problem of evil. Why does evil exist in the world? You know, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, according to these stories that I can see, there's order and there's disorder. There's construction or constructive energy and then destructive energies. So I believe our ancestors, the concept of God was a God who was so dynamic in their lives, right? The rivers, the ponds, the lakes. Then you have the hurricane coming, right? And that brought destruction. So we have a woman that gets pregnant, and then you got a woman who maybe can't have any children during the menstrual cycle. So there's this. It's almost like a tug of war, but I like to say it's a dance between order, disorder, or order and chaos. But it's not seen as a bad thing because our ancestors, through rituals and so on, they figure out one thing, and that's the concept of rhythm. That God is so dynamic that there's not really one name for God. So you can say Yokahu Bagwa Manokoti, but he has a mother. So it doesn't stop in the one, it starts also with the two. So, hold on a second. So our ancestors kind of figure out a way to to see the omnimus, the sacred, the universe all around them, the endless stars that they used to see, the oceans. They use everything as an interpretation that God is with them, that there's a power behind everything. There's a power behind sexuality, korokote. There's someone guarding Guave, heaven in the west, which is Obiye Guavian, another power, right? Um, and then on the Yokahu level, the masculine level, you have, the fire by Brahma, the secret of fire, which represents Bayamanako. Bayamanako. Then you have Baraguavaed, the semi of plants, the farmers, the guardian, Again, another power, another energy. Now, what happens when there's storms, too much water or too much drought? So they use the seasons to plant, to rest, to avoid the oceans. They knew when to navigate the stars when they travel to their relatives in South America or their neighbors in Quisqueya, Cuba. Um, Everything was one, but in that oneness there was diversity. There was a dynamic relationship. And guess what? For me, Wahayona represents that human struggle between trying to do the right thing and the struggle of falling short. But at the end, you will get cured. You will find healing because God is the Taino healer. God is the ultimate healer, the power, the source. And to get to that source, that power, we have to go to the Guanara. And Guanara is the void where we find healing. So out of all these characters, I love Konet because Konet is the silent one. He's just watching. He's not judging. He's not punishing. He's not yelling. He's not directing. He's just listening. And that's where you find healing, in the void. Get all the distractions out. Get all the problems out of your life for 1, maybe 5 minutes. Get into that void. This is what all these different cultures see, meditation and like all these different ceremonies to unblock your mind. And, you take the cojoba, the tobacco, ayahuasca, sacred mushrooms. So all it is to do one thing, is to help clear your mind, the ego, and to be one with the universe. And this is where I saw our ancestors. They did a great job, you know. And they name all these powers. They name it Yaya, Yaya Ed, Itiwaka Huwawa, Gorogote. So let's take that number 22 that I mentioned before. It was 22, right? 22, and let's act 12, because we had 12 semis. So you have 22 plus 12. So we got 4, 3. So we got 7. 3 plus 4 is 7. According to the scriptures, right? In Hebrew and Christian, it took 7 days to create the world, right? So when I saw the 7, I'm like, whoa, hold on a second, you know? So this is just an example I just want to share with you all. When I sit down and I try to do the math, I try to break down these characters. It's kind of cool trying to time travel to how our ancestors taught. So when you look at life, don't see it as good versus evil, evil versus good. Mother, son, life. Okay? Life. There's always that life force that surrounds us. And sometimes this life force can be destructive and it can be constructive. But our role as human beings, this is my theory about our ancestors, to focus on a God, an ultimate power that surrounds everything, that has all these powers, and to understand the fact that we are part of that power, that we are part of it, that no matter how messed up you can be a murder. Look at Guayana. He killed his brother-in-law. You know, you could look at Yaya killing his son. So you've seen a lot of that destructive energy, but at the end of the day, it transforms from the bones to a fish, from a murder to a healing. Now he's the new chief, Wahayona. So our ancestors definitely saw this chaos, but then they saw order, and when you put it together, you got healing. So wherever you look, there is God. You know, wherever you look, in the act of sharing cassava bread, or eating a hobo fruit, taking the Deagle plan and healing your body, whatever. Having a relationship with your dog or your cat or your parrot, whatever animals you have. It's all about relationship and sharing our energies. And when things get really bad, really horrible, there is hope. If you focus on that dot in the middle, there's hope that we can heal and we can overcome this destruction. So I guess one of the early humans, when they build a village next to a volcano, and when the volcano wiped out the village, and if there were survivors, they knew not to build a village by a volcano. So we learn these things. So is there a power between good versus evil? Well, I can't find it anywhere here. But what I do find is a people that understand that they are part of the power. Boom, right in the middle. And they have the capacity to connect to that power through ceremonies, through friendships, through sexual friendships or marriages or whatever. We're part of that power, man. We can tap into it. So who is this Taino God? This Taino God, man. There's a oneness and there's an awesomeness. It goes into the dot and it expands to the universe. So it's important to note I don't have all the answers. This is probably like a scratch, you know, but it's an attempt. And this is what I want to empower everyone who watches the videos, my videos, or watches these lives, whatever book you read, whatever you do. It's an attempt to understand what it is to be Taino. And when you identify as a Taino indigenous Caribbean person, that's multifaceted. Okay? So, I'm a Taino, but my mom's from from Africa, you know. Oh, I'm a Taino, but my father's from Europe. You know, I'm a Taino, but I go to church, to a Christian church, or I go to a mosque. It's all right. It's all right. It's all part of the rhythm. It's all part of the dance. Okay. At the end of the day, we are Taino, and we're still here. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully, all you future watchers of this video, please comment. Please give me, what do you think? Um, Hopefully, I solved the problem of evil in a Taino way. Accept what it is, take what is useful, and discard what is useless. Famous teacher Bruce Lee once said that. Make watch for your teachings. All right, cool. Make watch. Hope to learn more from you. Definitely, man. I see you all guys soon. I promise in the future I'm gonna do a Zoom and really get behind this text, And I pray everyone's doing well out there wherever you are, and let's keep it positive, okay? And don't give up on yourself because you are worth it. And why you're worth it? Because we are part of this power. And my father is a Ramos too. Oh, right, you're a Ramos. They're good people, man. Yeah, I hope so, man. Yo, hit me up at Taino Fun House at gmail.com, and we'll see what we could see how we can connect. Um, I promise every day I'm gonna dedicate some time to do a little video on every semi, every character, and just to ignite research and also, commit yourself, and see where you are in your life. Do you want to be like the Obieg Wabiyan? Do you want to be like Deminan? These are all powers. Bomatun, thank you for tuning in. And Bo Watukan, blessings to you all, no matter who you are out there, no matter what color, no matter what culture you were raised in, no matter what church or synagogue, wherever you go, man, we are Taino and we are still here.